Hey, good morning and welcome to my channel. My name's Josh and I'm going to be guiding you through this 10-minute yoga stretch that has specific emphasis on your hips and your hamstrings, and it's designed to wake you up and get you going. This is a beginner level class suitable for all ages. No props are required, just the mat, and we're going to start laying on our stomachs. So let's get into it. You want to make sure your hips are level and your legs are about hip width distance apart. I'm going to put my arms in front of me. So reach back with your right hand, bend your right leg, grab a hold of that ankle, and press your hips and pelvis right into the mat so you really get a deep front of the quad stretch going. The key here is going to be keeping that leg straight and hip width distance from the other leg. You don't want your knee to be bending or bowing out. Really press your hips and your pelvic bone straight into the mat so you kind of lengthen your lower back. And in this stretch, we don't want to pull too hard, so try to relax your head into the mat, relax your breathing a little bit, and just let the arm and the leg stretch themselves. And once you get into this stretch, relax and breathe, and you should feel it from the top where your hip meets your thigh, all the way down to the top of your knee. And we're just going to relax and settle into this stretch. Since it is the morning, we want to set the tone for the day starting right now. If you can control your breath, you can control your thoughts. And now you can carefully let go of that right foot, and we're going to switch to the other side. So put your right foot down, and then switch and put your right forearm in front of you. Reach your left arm back, and grab your left heel at the top of the foot, maybe the ankle, and settle in for this deep quad stretch. And as you're pulling back on that left leg, make sure you're keeping your spine and your neck straight and relaxed. We want to push the hips into the mat so we can get a full stretch on that left quad. We're going to do 5 deep breaths in this pose. And you may start to notice that one side feels a little bit more intense than the other side. And that's okay. No one is completely symmetrical. My right hip is way more jacked up than my left hip, so I have to kind of baby the right side more than I do the left side. And one more deep breath in this quad stretch. And release. And now we're going to press ourselves back up into child's pose. Toes together, knees apart, as far apart as you want them to be. I'm going to put mine pretty far apart because I want to get my hips looser today. Sit your back side as far back as you can get it. Deep breath out and lean forward and just relax. And crawl and stretch those arms out in front of you and really try to melt your whole heart and face really down to the mat. Relax anything that feels tense, anything that feels tight. Let the gravity start to do the work here. And you're breathing in and out through your nose. And now we're going to make our way into tabletop pose on your hands and knees. So walk your hands in a little bit, wiggle yourself back up, and form that perfect table. Palms underneath the shoulders, knees directly under the hips, and we're just going to kick that right leg straight up and back. And you're going to trace some big circles with your right knee just a couple of times to loosen up that hip. On the next circle that feels good, you're going to step that right leg up to the outside of your right hand. And we're going to lean forward into a deep low lunge position. So both palms on the mat, right ankle on the outside of the right hand, and you really want to open up that chest, slide your shoulder blades straight down your back, lean forward, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. And we're going to let our friend gravity do most of the work here, so try not to pull yourself too much forward, but you really want to feel this stretch in the left hip flexor, the right glute, and all along that left thigh. And now you're going to put both your hands flat on the mat, get that right leg mobile again, and we're going to find our 3-legged dog. So swing that right leg back and up, bend that right knee so you're really opening up that hip like you're a dog peeing on his favorite fire hydrant. And now we're going to find pigeon pose. So swing that right leg around in front of you and plant your knee right behind your right hand. And here we'll settle into pigeon pose. So square up your hips, slide your left leg back, and you really want to get a good stretch on the right glute. Now, if your lower back is as miserable as mine and you're not feeling it at home, lean forward, try to rest your head on your mat or on your hands, and just breathe deeply into your back to get the most out of this pigeon pose stretch. One more deep belly breath here. And now we're going to come out of it. So roll onto your right hip, swing that left leg around, and you're going to try to plant it right in front of your right leg so your shins are parallel. You kind of stack your left shin in front of your right shin. And then we're going to crawl forward, bend forward. And this position really shows how unflexible I am, but it feels great nonetheless. So I'm going to get as deep as I can without feeling pain and just try to let gravity do the work. Breathe and relax. And rising up, tabletop pose again so we can settle in and repeat this sequence on the other side. So from tabletop pose, you want to lift your left heel straight up to the sky and trace big circles using your left hip as the only part of you that's moving. And on your favorite circle, you're going to step that left leg up into a really wide lizard pose, kind of a low lunge with both your hands on the ground. Sink your hips toward the earth. Shine that heart forward. I'm melting my hips down. I'm rolling my shoulders back, and I'm just letting gravity do the work. And feel your hips sink a little bit lower with every deep breath, with every exhale. And now you want to flatten your hands both on the mat, plant the toes on your right foot, and find your three-legged dog. So get that left leg swinging around, straight up in the air, bend at the left knee like you're peeing on a fire hydrant, and open up the hip. I try to squeeze my heel toward my glute, and when I do this right, I really feel it all along my left side. And now let's swing it back around for pigeon pose. So that left heel is going to plant itself somewhere near your right wrist, and that shin does not have to be perfectly parallel. It can be a little bent. If you're not that flexible, you start here and then you can slowly move forward, but you do not want to hurt your knee here. So make sure there's no pain in the knee when you're finding this pose. And for me, pigeon pose is all about breathing and not hurting my knee. I try to find a spot where my knee feels okay, and it usually helps if I flex my left foot up. And now we're going to come out of it and we're going to rock to our left side and swing that right leg around and plant our right shin right in front of our left shin, like two cars on the freeway. So your right shin is slightly in front of your left shin, and we're going to fold down and forward from here. And choose the depth of the pose that feels best for you. You don't have to get your forehead anywhere near the mat. You can just be a little bit bent over. If you're feeling it in your glutes and you're not pinching your knees, you're doing okay. And this is the part of the 10-minute practices where I start to think I'm almost done, but we have a couple more poses to go, and then it's on with the day. Okay, now gently come out of this pose and sit back on your booty. Put your legs in front of you, and we're just kind of loosen up these knees by doing a little windshield wiper action. Drop both your legs to the left, both your legs to the right, and repeat this like a windshield wiper on a car. And you can even make the squeaky sound if you want. This should feel nice on your lower back. It releases all the tension that was just built up there, and it gives you a moment to check in and see how your body's doing with everything that we just did. And once we've shaken out all those cobwebs, let's take a seat in any way that you feel comfortable. Sometimes I cross my legs, sometimes I just stand up, bend over, and get an extra stretch of my hamstrings just by trying to get the most out of this quick 10-minute practice in the morning. Yoga can be a little woo-woo for some people with the ohms and the eyes closed, but this is that time where I think I'm done, I feel calmer, I feel better, and if I can sit with my legs crossed like a pretzel for 10 minutes, I can deal with this person at the office I don't like that much. And so if you made it through that 10 minutes with me and you feel better, I hope to see you tomorrow for another 10-minute morning yoga session. Peace, everybody.